The unrest at the border comes as the Trump administration is working on a deal with Mexico that would keep migrants seeking asylum in Mexico instead of the U.S., which is the current policy. The president is up and tweeting about the crisis, writing, Mexico should move the flag-waving migrants, many of whom are stone-cold criminals, back to their countries. Do it by plane, do it by bus, do it any way you want, but they are not coming into the U.S. This morning, the border battle intensifying. On Sunday, the Trump administration closed the San Ysidro port of entry between San Diego and Tijuana for a period of time, citing large numbers of migrants, some of whom tried to breach the fence, while others threw projectiles. In response, U.S. Border Patrol officers fired tear gas canisters at some of the migrants. DHS Secretary Kristen writing, DHS will not tolerate this type of lawlessness. Hans Nichols was in Tijuana when migrants stormed the border.
There are hundreds of migrants here who have left their squalid camp and are trying to make it towards the border, towards an official point of entry. But stopping them, Mexican federal police here, it is going to prevent them from reaching their goal.
This all comes after the president tweeted Sunday, would be very smart if Mexico would stop the caravans long before they got to our southern border. The Trump administration is in talks with Mexico, according to administration officials, to allow migrants applying for asylum in the United States to remain in Mexico while they wait for a decision.
If we don't have borders, we don't have a country.
Over the weekend, the president indicated the new asylum policy is a done deal, tweeting, migrants at the southern border will not be allowed into the United States until their claims are individually approved in court. But a top Mexican official contradicted the president, saying no agreement had been reached. President Trump also threatened to close the entire U.S. border if the situation worsens. And the president also threatened to shut down the government if lawmakers don't agree to an extra $5 billion to fund his border wall. The funding fight will come to a head in about 2 weeks. Now, a number of Republicans say they don't support that idea. And remember, the president promised Mexico would pay for the wall. Well, Mexico continues to insist it's not going to fund the wall. Hoda, Savannah.
All right, Kristen Welker at the White House. Kristen, thanks.